Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Thank you all for being here today. Oh boy, what a crazy day today. Uh, that weather out there, guys, is something else. And I wasn't really prepared for how bad it is out there. Wow, is all I have to say. And just take your time out there. If you're outside and this storm, which is raging right now, take your time. Don't be in a rush to get from A to B wherever you're going because some people out there are still driving reckless in this weather. And this is not it. It's really, really dangerous. Because when I left this morning, not only was it raining hard and the winds were raging, it was ice mixed with the rain. A little bit of that, and just it was darker than usual. Because to me, safety is everything. So if you're out there doing Christmas shopping, running errands, or going to work, or etc., just be careful. Take your time. Nothing is worth rushing and getting into an accident. Don't do it, people. Just take your time and be safe, you know? So I'm on here now. I just finished up with the Zoom meeting and now I'm here. And it's like the weekend was pretty okay. I got some rest and it just comes quickly. Monday comes so fast. But the good news is that this is a short week and the Christmas vacation start. My favorite time of the year. I love Christmas. I love the movies. I love baking cookies, and I love the Christmas. I said movies, right? Movies, but the music too. They're starting to play the Christmas music on the radio, and I love that too. Best time of the year. And I really always love Christmas, even though when I was growing up, we didn't celebrate it so much, but I love Christmas. So here we are again on Monday, guys, and I hope everyone is safe and doing well. So, before I get into the topic of discussion, so I spent yesterday watching the game because I love the Buffalo Bills. Don't hate me for that. I am from New York originally. So they played Dallas, and they just like crucified them. It was really a good game. Really, it had me glued all the way through. And the Bills did it again. They might make it to the Super Bowl. We'll see how that turns out. I don't watch a lot of football. I watch like if someone interesting is playing that has my attention, like the Patriots. I'll watch whoever they're playing, and then I'll watch the Jets because I like them too, and then I watch Buffalo Bills and whoever they're playing because when these teams play, it's always good. It's always going to be a good game. So that is what I did. Also, okay, let's get into the topic of discussion. It's take care of yourself is the topic of discussion. I have a small outline here, but the discussion won't be that long today, as usual. Um, it's important to take care of yourself, especially during a holiday time. If you've lost if you lost a loved one um, recently or not too far, not too long ago, and this is your first or even second holiday without them, just take care of yourself as you go through the grief. That's so important, people, because the grief can overwhelm you to the point where you just don't feel like taking care of yourself or doing anything. And I know that feeling because I went through that for a long time. Just make sure you take care of yourself. Even if you do one thing for yourself out of the day, make sure you do that. Don't allow yourself to just go lacking because your physical and mental health will suffer for it at the end. Also, in the beginning of this video, if I don't do this in the beginning, somewhere in a video, I always let people know that I am not a certified or licensed therapist. I don't have a degree in therapy. And I'm someone who went through a lot of grief and loss. And I talk about ways that I've gotten through it because it's not easy at all. It's very difficult. So, one of the things that's on the top of my list is music. I love music. Before I got on, I listen to music because it helps motivate me and uplift my spirit. And I love music, especially a playlist of old music. And if you love music too, just put on a playlist, make a playlist of your favorite songs and let them play one by one. And I usually put my earplugs in and just listen. And, meditation, I get up first thing in the morning, prayers, meditation. I get up a little earlier so that I can do those things because it starts my day on the right path, you know. Positive, filling my mind and spirit with positive things is so important, especially when you've been through so much loss and grief. That helps a lot. Exercise, that's something I haven't done yet because I'm eating too much right now, holidays, but that's something that's on my goal list is exercise. But definitely when I do that, I'm going to do that with music and laughter, people, which I haven't talked about a lot. It's important, laughter, because put some laughter into your day. It's important, even though you may feel like it might not be much to laugh about at the moment, but put some laughter into your day because it helps. It helps your mental health, your physical health, everything. Little by little, these things I'm talking about, it doesn't happen overnight, just little by little, you know. Um, what I'm learning to do now, which is difficult, but I'm doing it, little by little, is to communicate how things make me feel. What I mean by that is that um, recently I had a conversation with someone who I thought was a friend. And I actually just had to tell this person how I felt and how much they hurt me. And that's something I normally don't tell a person how much they hurt me or what they've done. I just, go silent. And I'm learning that people need to know why I'm going silent, why they're being cut off, blocked, and deleted. They need to know. And I need to stand on that and not just, just disappear. But I'm learning to do that and stand on that because it's not okay. And one of the things that I talked about before is dismissiveness. When people dismiss me like I'm nothing, like I'm insignificant and I don't matter, that bothers me more than anything. That's one of the top priorities, I would say, that bothers me. And I'm starting to address those things now. And after having a conversation about it, if it continues, block, cut off, and delete is what I do. And it's permanent when I do that. That's why I always talk about things here and I reiterate what bothers me and, the most out of all these toxic situations that take place because my cut off, block, and delete is permanent. There's no, oh, well, we can talk about and reconcile because before I get to that point of cutting people off, I have done everything within my power to try to resolve the situation with them. And it takes two. It doesn't take one person. Both parties have to be willing to sit and talk and reconcile. If not, then it's not an equal give and take, and I'm letting it go. And one of the uh, recent ones, it was difficult for me to do that, but it's not an equal give and take. I was the one, you know, um, just with friendships, whatever it is, I'm the one running behind people, and I'm not going to run behind anyone. It's going to be an equal give or take, or it's going to be nothing at all. Well, first, it'll be, I will address the issues. And if it continues, then there's no need to continue on that path, because, it takes when people whether it's a friendship, whether it's family, whether it's relationship, it takes all parties involved to build on it. And if one person is doing the work to build on it, then it's unequal. It's not equal, and if I address it, I may address it a second time. After that, I'm not addressing it anymore because we're adults, and I'm just going to just block, cut off, delete, because I don't, life is too short, and I've gone through too much, and I'm not letting people put me through anything more. And, and I already am, still healing and trying to deal with certain aspects of grief, and get through it, because it's an ongoing process, even though I've healed a lot of it. And I don't want toxicity. So I try to resolve things, communicate. Communication is a key factor with a lot of these things, that we go through with family, friends, significant others, etc., children, communication. When the other parties do not want to communicate, then I would try to address it again, reach out, look, we need to talk about A, B, C, and D. And if they don't want to do that, cut off, block, and delete, because I'm not going to continue to allow the toxicity into my life and ignore it. No, I'm not doing that, because I've done so much work on myself to heal these things. I'm not allowing it back in. So my cut off, block, and delete is permanent, you know. So that's why, and it makes me sad, but it's necessary, because my physical and mental health means everything to me. That's a priority. Without that, I can't do anything else. And that should be a priority with anyone that's gone through grief, currently going through it, your mental and physical health, because without that, you can't take care of anything around you, yourself, or anything else. So that should be a top priority. And that's what I've been doing. But the communication part of it is hard, especially when I have to talk about how somebody hurt me and what they did and the betrayals and stuff like that. And that's been hard. And I had to do that recently with someone. And it was very difficult, but I did it to the best of how, where I am, to the best of where I am right now with the healing. And that's it. And then I leave it right there, because I said what I had to say. And that's important too. I don't have to act out a character and use a lot of profanity and etc. to get my point across. No, what it is to speak about what hurts you and what makes you feel sad, etc. And then once you speak it out, that's it. It's out there, and then you leave it where it is and move on. And if the person really want to reconcile with you, they will reach out to work things out with you. That's how I do it anyway. Everything I talk about here is how I address things and how it's been effective so far in my life. It's so important, because if you don't address how you feel with other people, and someone said something, let's say, for example, that hurt your feelings, and it just, or did something toxic, etc., and you just let it build up, and you don't say anything about it, then it turns into resentment. And I've done so much work on myself to allow things to turn into resentment, because now I'm falling back into toxicity. So I say what I have to say, and then they want to work it out, let's work it out. If not, then block, cut off, delete, and remove it from my life. But I did my part where I don't have to stay stagnated into that toxicity, because when you don't address things and it bothers you, it stays within you, stagnates you. Just like grief, when you don't, and the pain, and you don't have that outlet to release it, it stays within you. And that's not good either, because that brings about health issues, and things of that nature. So it's always important to release that, always have an outlet for that to go. Um, One of my biggest struggles is just being patient with stuff. I'm getting better, I'm telling you, I'm getting better because with this traffic this morning and people cutting me off and giving a finger and doing stuff like that, and I just, I turn up the music and just say, what a jerk. But before I would be getting like really upset. And now I just, you know, I don't have the, same attitude towards it. I see it, I do whatever I can to make sure I'm safe, and that's it, but being patient and just with things in life, it's, I don't know, my mom is right about this, people. As I get older, I mellow out. I just don't see things within the same perspective as I did before. Like if someone does something and I would really, really get like really bent out of shape about certain things. Now I just address it. If it continues, leave people where they are and move on. Because this part of my life, I want peace, tranquility. I don't want the drama. I don't want the craziness, the toxicity. And sometimes what happens when you're serious about moving forward and healing the broken areas in your life, sometimes the past comes back to try to haunt you. And what I mean, past toxicity, is what I'm talking about. People who you've been connected to, that are toxic, and they want to come back in and bring the toxicity. What I do myself personally, I give them my silence. I received an email from somebody who been cut out of my life for so long. And and I look at this email, I read it, and then I delete it. I don't have any words for it because I know that I did everything within my power. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes every day of my life just like everybody else do. However, I had addressed these issues, and a person continued to bring the toxicity to the table over and over and over again. And one day, we all are human, but we all have breaking points, and once you reach that, there's no going back again, going back and forth with the same situation. It's like riding the Ferris wheel. And I refuse to do that at this point in my life. But that door was closed, and when someone wants to reopen that, I don't really do that. The only time I do that is like in a case of this friend I have. She's probably watching. I won't say your name. I promise. um we've been friends since I was 14 years old. We didn't have any fight or anything like that. It's due to what we were connected to, toxicity. I'm going to say it in that way, and recently we reconnected, and it's so good to talk to her. And I know all her kids since they were like born, and she's like family to me than my own family is. We're like sisters. And over the weekend we had a really great conversation about stuff and laughed and stuff like that. And it's really nice because it's nice to be able to talk to somebody from my past that knows me, and and talk about things we went through together, because we used to live in the same um, area, is what I'm going to say. And we, would hang out. And then I had another friend where we would just we would just go to places that, I'm going to say it like this, our parents didn't want us to go. Parties. When I was younger, I liked to, because I love music, I would be in a roller skating rink. Remember back in the day when you go roller skating to music and stuff, I did all that stuff. But then I was doing this stuff a lot. And I had a friend that I would, just a friend, I had like a friend, a best friend, but then a friend that you just hang out with, go places with and stuff like that. And we had, a conversation about all these things we did when we were younger. And it's nice to reconnect with her. And thank you also for watching my videos. And I hope they're helping you as well as everybody else. But so that's a joy to me to have her back in my life again, Um, being more responsible. I have like an outline here of things that I want to cover. What I learned to do is to be more responsible, because people, let me tell you what one of my problems was, even with all this healing and from grief and everything, is that I don't, there's times in my life where I don't feel like being bothered. So even if I had like a meeting I had to attend, back, and I'm talking about a while back, not recently, I just would cancel and say I'm sick or something because I didn't want to be bothered. And I remember a time my mother wanted, I talked about this in one of my prior videos. Um, I didn't share this with my friend yet, but she's gonna know about it. Where my son was like 4 or 5 years old. I think he was, yeah, about 4 or 5, and he used to cry all the time, just cry, cry, cry. And I just, and when the weekend come, because I worked during the week, my mother was coming over every weekend, and sometimes I just didn't want to be bothered, and I think I talked about it, and I told her not to come, and she came anyway, and I didn't let her in, kind of attitude. And that was the old me, how I was. And with things, as far as responsible, like if I had to be someplace and I didn't feel like being bothered, I'll cancel and say, oh, I don't feel well or whatever. But now the new me have learned to do things differently, to be more responsible, to be more disciplined, and to take other people's feelings into consideration, because it's not, whether I feel well or not at times. It's not so much you're not feeling well. We all, I guess, get to the point sometimes where we just don't feel like being bothered. But not for, so now how I deal with it, I don't give into that anymore. Whereas in the past, I used to give in to those feelings. Now, when I start feeling like that, I put on music for a little while, let me get my mind into a different perspective, and after I listen to about a half an hour of music or a little more, then I get into what I needed to do. Like, for example, I had a meeting this morning, that a Zoom meeting, and I really didn't feel like getting on that meeting. So I put on some music, did what I had to do, had my tea. I drink coffee, I drink a lot of tea, more so than coffee now, and just got myself in a mood for it. And to my surprise, it didn't last as long as I thought it would. But in any event, it was, it wasn't bad. But I learned to find ways to do things that I don't feel like doing, just finding ways through music, little things that I like to do before, I do what I need to do. So, what I'm trying to say with all this, find ways to make your life easier. Because as you go through grief, it changes your life forever. It changes you forever. So, that old Lisa that didn't feel like being bothered, the new Lisa want to do things, but sometimes I do get into that space of not wanting to be bothered, but I do things to get myself out of it. Like I said, the music and things like that helps. So do things to make your life easier. Even at work, I do things to make my life easier. Like if I plan out something on how I'm going to do something, I do it the night before, so I don't have to get up in the morning, while I'm getting ready to work on it. Do things to just make your life easier. If you have a job like that where you have paperwork or things that you have to do, if you can do it ahead of time so that you don't have to deal with it while you're at work, do things to make your life easier. And not only with work, just in general, So I've been finding different ways to do things that make my life easier, especially stuff that I don't want it, that I don't feel like doing. When I have to do it, I may do certain things while I'm listening to music. It helps. It helps me to do a chore that I don't want to do. or whatever it may be. Just find ways to make your life easier. Because the world we live in today, people don't really care. It's just cold and people just seem to be miserable. It seems to be spinning on misery. But don't allow yourself to fall into that category. Do things to lift up your spirit. And make what I like to do too is just, when I'm in a supermarket, hold the door for somebody. This is my good deed for the day, and just doing things that help other people feel at ease as well, because everybody is always so uptight, all the time. And what I like about Christmas is that people seem to be more friendlier. And, even though they're stressed with all the Christmas shopping, they do seem to be a little bit at ease during holiday time, and if I can make somebody laugh, I'll do that, to make their day easier, because people are uptight all the time, you know, and just find ways through through the grief process to help you get through it. Meditation, music. If you like puzzles, go for a walk into nature. Not today though. Watch your favorite movie. There's a lot of Christmas movies on now, and do things that make you laugh, and take care of your mental, physical health as well. Eat better. I do more salads now. I do eat other stuff in between though. I cheat a little with that, but it's holiday time, so. But do things that just make you feel better. And please share this video with other people, because some people are in deep depression, because losing a loved one is so hard, it's so difficult, and you just have to take one day at a time, and don't rush the process. And please share this video, subscribe, help other people learn about this channel, because some people don't talk freely about their pain and their grief. Sometimes they're just in isolation and deep depression. So please share the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell others about this. And this is a no judgment zone. Anyone who's dealing with these things of grief, etc., all the things I talk about here, show up on the channel and let's talk about it. Because when you find an outlet to pain, then it doesn't stay stagnated within you. So let's continue to learn how to turn pain into power, power into a purpose, purpose into paying it forward to help other people so that they can feel better. And when you feel better, people, you do better. And then you can help others to do the same. Thank you for being here today, watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with a new message. Anyone outside driving around, stay safe today. It's really miserable out. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.